Any rate, welcome to the program. It is the first full day of fall, which means when you head to the farmer's market or to the produce aisle at your local grocery store, you'll start seeing a shift in what is fresh and local.
That's right.
So, and I don't know, do you do that, Patty, when you're looking at the store? Because there might be something from Chile, there might be something from Argentina, Mexico, wherever it's coming in from. I try to buy local.
Definitely try to do that, and I appreciate the stores that let you know where the produce is coming from.
Yes, and you're seeing that more and more because the trend, it's more than just a like a flash in the pan sort of thing. This is
People
picking
want
up
to know.
steam for sure.
Yes.
Well, joining us right now is food expert Molly Watson. I believe she lives in San Francisco, and she really knows her fall veggies. I found a great page that she has online to talk all about that. So we're going to go through the different fresh produce that you can find this time of year and how to prepare it. Welcome to the program, Molly.
Hi, happy to be here.
Well, are you in San Francisco? Do I have that right?
I am in San Francisco.
Yeah, she has the same prefix to her phone number that my dad had at his work. I saw that and I was like, wait a minute, 552. Yes, I know that prefix. Okay, so you can't turn a corner this time of year without running into some squash, right?
It would be difficult, especially since right now you still have the summer squash in, and you have the winter squash starting.
So there's
sort
an
of
overlap.
Squash everywhere.
Yeah. In fact, Patty just made some at her house last night.
I did. I made butternut squash last night. That's my son's favorite.
Oh, how'd you make it?
I just roast it in the oven until it gets nice, soft, and squishy, and then I just smush it up with some salt and butter. Honestly, really plain.
Mm-hmm. Delicious.
I love it, though.
It has so much flavor, you don't need to do that much to it.
It's true. It has a lot of natural sweetness, and it's just, I think the mistake people can make is not using quite enough salt to bring that out.
And so, Molly, do you prepare it the similar way to how Patty just explained?
Yeah, I like to roast it. I like to use it in soups, especially if I roast it and you kind of mash it up like that. If there's any extra, I'll use that to add some moisture to like a simple cake or something as well.
Oh.
I like to use it or stir it into soups to sort of thicken them up.
I like to add onions while I'm roasting the
squash.
The squash, garlic and onions on the same pan.
Oh, yeah.
And then put all of that and like you were saying, make a soup and then blend it up and add curry.
Oh,
and,
yum.
What's the milk that's concentrated? Not the sweet kind.
But like canned, evaporated.
Like condensed milk?
Yeah, and add that to it, and it gives it. And if you, I know, not everyone wants to go non-fat, and I know Patty doesn't for sure.
Yeah.
But but
I was about to say, why don't you just use cream? It's so delicious.
Right. I know. And so if you're trying to make a light version, you can use the non-fat condensed milk or evaporated.
Oh, okay.
And
True.
the non-sweet one, whichever one.
Yeah,
that
you
is.
don't want the sweetened one. That would
No.
be good.
Okay, so another thing Patty made last night, and we just posted a video recipe online yesterday, is for Brussels sprouts. I hated them as a kid, but I love them now.
And why do you love them now? It's because you're having them roasted, aren't you?
Yes.
That's right.
Exactly. They're prepared differently, and that's become super popular, huh?
Very, yes. What's the recipe you guys put up?
It is you roast them, and then what you do is you also roast Meyer lemons.
Oh, yum.
Wow.
And the Meyer lemons. I'm sorry, you blacken them in a pan with
that's
olive
what I do.
oil. Yeah, and the Meyer lemons get this almost candy texture, and it's the rind from the Meyer
Lemon
lemons,
rind.
the
Okay.
zest, and it is. You'll have to check it. It's a video recipe. We talked to a grower, a Brussels sprout grower, who and then explained a little bit on how to select Brussels sprouts at the market. Do you have any tips on that, Molly?
Well, the great thing in California is you really can often find them on the stalk.
That's so cool. They have them at Trader Joe's that way. Love it.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it looks really cool. So if you're trying to get kids to eat vegetables, it's great because it looks like it's from Mars or something.
Very intriguing, yes.
Yeah, and they'll last really long if you buy them that way. They'll last a long time once you get them home. You really just want to look for ones that look really fresh. You can tell when vegetables aren't good. They look dried out.
Yeah.
They look brown. They look beat up.
With
you want
Brussels
really
sprouts,
fresh-looking ones.
You don't want any yellow, except for on the very inside when you cut them in half.
Right.
And when you pinch them, just like, do you remember Don't Squeeze the Charmin commercials?
Right.
You do want to squeeze these, and they want to make a little squeak noise.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, because otherwise they're dried out.
So what I like to do very quickly is I clean them, cut them in half, brown them in the skillet in a pan on the stove. add garlic, olive oil to do that, and then when they start to cool a little bit, butter, of course, Randall, because everything gets butter in my house.
That's true.
And Parmesan cheese.
Ooh.
Oh, delicious. I like to add a little chili in with them if I do that, too, which is good. The other thing I like to do with them is a little different, is shred them. Cut them up.
Oh, right.
And use them as a salad.
Like a cabbage?
Like as if it's a cabbage, yeah.
Interesting.
And so shred them up, and you can do that in a food processor, too, and then to make it go faster.
Interesting.
And then I do a dressing that has like a little chili and a little mint, and maybe add some almonds in with it. It's delicious.
Molly, our audio director, wants to know what type of chili you use with the Brussels sprouts.
If I'm cooking them, it depends on what I have in the house. If I have some like fresh chili, I'll cut that up into some thin slices, but I also will use just those red pepper flakes to add some heat.
Oh, okay. Good.
So you said
Love
you shred them up somewhat like cabbage, and cabbage is something that is in season this time of year.
It is, and the great thing about cabbage, Brussels sprouts are getting all this attention because everyone's discovering they're delicious when you roast them, but they're really just tiny cabbages. So I really like trying to get people to use cabbage as well because it has a longer season. It's cheaper.
Yeah.
And if you buy a head of cabbage and put it in your fridge, it lasts approximately forever. So it's great to have around, it's great to buy at the farmer's market, and it'll be good at the end of the week before you go to the market again. So you can still have fresh vegetables.
I love it.
Molly, we used to get, we've stopped doing it now, but we used to get a CSA box delivered to our house every week, and during the winter, we would get cabbage, and I would put it in the drawer and forget about it, and then in April or something, we're
still
running,
there.
Right, we were running out of things to eat, and I was like, "Oh, we have this cabbage; it can't possibly still be good." It was like
it was fine, right?
Yeah, it was like I just picked it up at the store. I was like, "Wow, this is fantastic!" It's
They're
like nature's
storage
Twinkie.
vegetables. They used to be grown and kept in a root cellar through the winter. That's what they are.
Gosh.
I love just cooking them with some butter. Makes it delicious. Almost kind of braising it in butter.
Yeah.
Or I'll do in a pan, saute it with ginger and garlic and black pepper and maybe some potatoes and carrots.
Nice.
And some butter. It's really good. I'll even cut it into wedges, put it on skewers, and just grill it.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
I like
Delicious.
that.
I hadn't thought of that. That's a really good one.
I like
And
it.
the cabbage leaves can be used to scoop things and
Yes, serve things.
Right.
And of course, you can always just shred it up and pretend it's any kind of lettuce and use it in a salad.
It's true. I like that. Cabbage.
Or on a fish taco.
The versatile vegetable or lettuce. Okay, now we have a couple of minutes left here to talk about fruit because while people think of summer and fruit,
Right.
fall in California anyway has some great varieties to choose from.
Well, yeah, and we're so lucky because we can actually buy locally grown pomegranates, which no one else in the whole country gets to do.
No.
We're very lucky.
I remember when I was a kid, I would say, "This is such a pain. I wish, I wish all the seeds were
it was all done for
if
you.
you could just buy them all together."
And you can
Well, now
now.
you can, of course.
Now you can. But now as an adult, I actually kind of like picking them apart and then putting them. We were you over at the house, Patty? We put pomegranate seeds in our champagne, and they float, and then they drop to the bottom, and then
I
they come
love
back up
it.
again.
And
Yeah.
it's so pretty.
It is.
Very
it's just
cool.
such an easy little cocktail thing to do, too.
A splash of color that is just fantastic. Okay, trivia question for both Molly and Patty. How do you say pomegranate in Spanish?
Pomegranate?
Do you know, Molly?
I have no idea. That's an
It's-
awesome question.
It's Granada.
Oh!
Yeah,
I didn't know
There's
that.
a place right around the corner from us here called Granada Bistro, and the Granada Hotel. They're putting
I did
in now.
not know that.
Yeah,
Wow.
And so I looked it up. I'm like, I wonder what Granada means. And then I'm like, oh, pomegranate.
That's cool.
And when
I
you
like
think
that.
about it, the granite part of pomegranate are the
Yeah,
grains that are
right.
inside. You
Yeah.
know, so Granada. At any rate, I digress. So it's not just apples that are in season this time of year, but are pears a cousin to apples?
They are related, yes.
Okay.
The Gravenstein apple, I heard you guys were talking about. You can't really beat a Gravenstein apple, but in general, I like pears more than apples.
Pears are delicious.
And they're great to cook with.
They're wonderful to cook with.
My first full-time job as a television news anchor was in Medford, Oregon, in the Rogue Valley, and they have an annual pear parade and festival and all that sort of thing. I think it was the Bartlett, I think was their big thing there. In California, we have a lot of Bartletts, right? But a wider variety as well.
We do. We grow actually most of the varieties. So we grow the Anjous and Asian pears, Bartletts, Bosque, Comice, and French butter pears,
Uh-huh.
which I adore.
Molly, in 10 seconds, what would you do with a pear that people might not
My favorite
think
thing to do with a pear that you're not going to think of is I brown a pork butt, put it in the oven to roast with a bunch of garlic, a bunch of chilies, and then about half an hour before it's done, I throw in a bunch of quartered pears.
Ooh.
It is insanely delicious.
Right,
Yum.
We're all coming over to your house. It's going to take us 4 hours to drive up there, but don't be surprised when we're knocking at your door. Molly Watson, we need to have you back every season. Will you do that for us?
Absolutely. It's great.
Fantastic. We have a link to Molly's About page where she has all sorts of tips regarding
Yummy.
cooking in season. All right, stick around, everyone. You know, California has fall color, great fall color, maybe even better than New England. That's right.
Can't wait to hear
We're
about
going to
it.
learn all about that straight ahead here on the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network.